G'day everyone. Hey, today we're going to try a sling loading operation video with the CowanSims AS350 and a custom made Beehive box that was made by my brother and Linda. The sling physics are still a little bit glitchy, especially on the replays, but they don't really collide with the ground properly. I've tried playing around with the different settings in it, but that's about as good as I can get it for now. There could be a few little stutters. They did update the CowanSims AS350 to match X-Plane 12 Beta 4, which sort of screwed a lot of things up. But it's definitely better. It's usable again now. There's just the odd little stutter, but that could be just combined with a few of the settings I've got it set on. So, real world time and weather. We're going to do an early load. Take this load, drop it off at the Otapua. There's a little spot I've made there, scenery to drop it in, and then we'll shoot across to Waipakihi and pick up one and bring it back, and that'll be our flight for the day. So we'll see how the sling loading goes. I haven't really done much of it, so it could be interesting. Let's get going. You'll notice I've taken out all the seats, so we've got minimum weight. I had to custom remove the front seat because that wasn't part of the package. Right, let's turn my little map on. I'll get it started first actually. That's on. Batteries on. Anti-coal. We've got 504 kgs on the strap. I probably shouldn't show until it actually is getting weight pulled on it, but that's obviously just a little bug. My vertical reference window open. Turn the map on. So we are here. I don't know if you can see this on here. We're only going to take the first lot of beehives to here, and then we've got to shoot all the way across to here and bring that load back to the base. Right, generator on, avionics on. A little bit of wind coming from our tail quarter, so we'll pick up and we'll hover a bit. I may swap a lot in this video to the outside view just so you can see what's going on while we're lifting. I generally try to do it from the inside and use all the reference windows, but you're not going to see as much as if I swap to the outside view and you can actually see what's happening with the load and that, so we'll just alternate between them all. Okay, right, enough fuel for our flight. And we're good to go. Alright, undo the friction locks. Get up over top of this. Wind, and keep going up. A little bit off centre there. I haven't done this for a bit. So if you look below us now, we're trying to mess it up a little bit. Right, we'll head off to the Otapua. We'll switch to the outside view so you can see what's happening. Once you're actually in flight, it actually looks pretty good. The thing sort of lines up with where it's supposed to and all the rest of it. And you'll probably notice I've got all the doors off on the pilot side today for this video. And just comfort here. You'll notice it does really affect the speed on what weight you've got on the sling too, which is something that never happened in, well, like not that I ever noticed it happening in X-Plane 11. I've had a few tests so far in X-Plane 12, and it's definitely is a lot more. Yeah, you can really feel it on the depending on the size and the shape and the weight of the object below you. So it looks like not a bad day. Like, there's a few clouds around, but nice early start. Buffeted a little bit by that tailwind at the moment. Might be a bit of a shower there actually, looking at that. Yeah, there's a bit of a rain shower just sort of heading through here. That's what I like about this new sim, is just the weather effects are so changeable in the hill country, which is what they're kind of like in New Zealand. They've still got that artifacts, they haven't fixed that yet. It's getting worse. Just going to have to come alongside of this ridge here. Probably not the best day to be flying with the door open. It'll be really good once they fix, or X-Plane gets rid of that sort of that black artifact on the ridge lines through sort of, I guess, the haziness of it. We've gone pretty much through that shower. We're basically doing about 60 knots with our big load of beehives on the bottom. I have got a button set up on my thing on the joystick to jettison the load, so we'll do that once we're in position over where we're going to deliver them. The only thing with so far with how X-Plane simulates sling loading, and when you jettison it just instantly disappears. It doesn't like fall to the ground or stay there once you've let go of it. So I have seen a plugin online which I'm going to just trial next time maybe and see if I can get it working with X-Plane 12, and we'll see if that makes anything better. Alright, we'll switch to the outside view again. So it's down to our little valley to our left, coming up here before the Otapua airstrip, so we'll just start descending and turning up into that valley and start slowing up. Hopefully we can just do a straight in delivery and jettison the load once it's on the ground, and then we'll head off for the Waipakihi. It's sort of hard to see, but there's a little clearing up ahead I've made as a separate thing so that I've got a spot where I can put the beehives. I've got a few on the ground there already, so we're coming in now, approaching. I'm going to switch to the outside view just so you can see exactly what's going on. Alright, I'll get ready to jettison the load once they touch down. The load's swinging around a bit there at the moment. It's affecting the handling a little bit. Move forward a little bit. I really need to do an extension on my joystick because it's got too sensitive for this sort of movement. When you got weight underneath, it accentuates the sensitivity a little bit. Okay, we're just about down. Go down, and I'll release them. Oh, I'm not going to release. Just hover over them for a second. I'm just going to have to set up my jettison button quickly, so I'm just going to have to land next to them. Just back up a little bit. It's a little bit rough, but it's kind of difficult in the outside view. I should have gone to the inside, so I'll just quickly change my setting over. I did have a jettison button set, I thought, but it's clearly not there at the moment. I do have one. I do have one. Okay, so I'll pick up back over the load again. Giving that bush a bit of a prune up by the look of it. Okay, so we'll unhook it. We've jettisoned. Oh, it stayed there this time. It doesn't usually stay there when you jettison, so that time it did. It's good. Right, go back to inside view, and let's head to the Waipaka here. That's yeah, it's unusual. I've never had them the load stay there when I've jettisoned before, so whether that's something they fixed, I don't know, but that's good because it means it's a little bit more immersive. Right, we've got a little bit of a flight to get to Waipaka. There's the Mangaroa down there. Bit of a sink coming over that ridge there, but look, it's blowing us around a little bit here, the breeze. See, this is what I was talking about with the lag. It takes a little bit to catch up sometimes. Alright, I'll just clear that. Go around this cloud. We're going to go around to our right a little bit more, just cut across to the Waipaka, so we'll cut up through this bit of a saddle here. It's quite murky just there. Bit of a shower going through that valley. Right, now we'll go around to our right and try and get away from that shower there. It's going to be a little bit hazy going through the top of this ridge here, but just the thinnest patch I can find to go through that shower, go along this ridge, so we can stay inside of the ground and have a bit of a horizon at least. Yeah, it's considerably a lot of showers around up in the poor visibility in the hills today. Those to get worse as the day goes on, so we'll try and get across to Waipaka here and get this load out and get back to base. Hopefully they'll release an update for the 500 and the Jet Ranger for CowanSims for X-Plane 12 Beta 4, because then I can do a video with those two. I want to do a review on the 206, but yeah, the Beta 4 patch has affected that too. Yeah, we another bit of lag there. So it's not too bad, but there is some of those little patches where it actually pauses for quite a bit, and I don't know whether that's just because it's kind of catch up with scenery load or that, but at least for the most part it's still flyable at this stage. It's still a beta sim at the end of the day, so you've got to expect it to be a little bit buggy occasionally. Doing alright for fuel. Oh, it's looking a bit better across here, just a few patches around, but hopefully it won't be too much to stop us. So this is the Boyd Valley, or Boyd airstrip, just across where I'm looking here, straight off the sort of 11 o'clock on the flats there, on the river flats. We'll just go sort of, let me have a look at the map. Yeah, we're pretty much just going to go straight across. We'll keep this altitude and just try and go towards, oh, we got a bit of wind here hit us to the side. Bit of a gust. It's quite gusty at this altitude. Get blowing around a bit here. You can see that little pyramid on the horizon there, that's Makarako, and that's quite a high peak in this area, so we'll head for that, because Waipakihi's beyond that a little bit further. So Boyd airstrip should be just underneath us here somewhere. Yeah, I think we're right over top of it. I think having the door off may be affecting it, how it's yawing with this wind, which is, if that's the case, it's quite a neat aspect of it, a bit more realism. New spots on the windscreen. Go just to the left, we'll fly pretty much between Makarako and Wongakia, and then we'll go right across this sort of southeastern end of the Angamari Saddle Valley, and we'll get across to Waipakihi. The Mangamingi Valley, or the hut just down there. Probably can't see it from here, but it's down there beside the river. Flick to the outside view for a little bit. What would be quite neat is if you could leave the long line just with a strop hanging off the bottom when you're flying between like pickup points or something, and then when you hover over it, hit a button to reattach like a sling-loaded object if you had them like placed in a scenery. But I'm not sure if that's possible yet, but I'll do some research and see if I can figure out if it is. This end of the Mangamingi Saddle looks pretty shitty there with the cloud and stuff there. Getting a bit of wind coming off Wongakia there. A bit of turbulent air. As it's sort of coming, our wind's basically sort of coming in from about that direction. There's our Mangamari Saddle down there. You'll probably recognise it, we've flown in there a few times in videos now. Makarako just there off the about 11 o'clock there. Doesn't look quite as high now, we're almost a little bit above it. Doesn't look too bad in the saddle this morning. A few sort of patchy, showery clouds floating around here and there. It's pretty barren up on these tops here. Like, it's pretty much just rocks and a few little shrubs and alpine plants that grow up here. It's quite getting up in altitude here in the North Island, so it gets a bit of snow during the winter, so there's not a huge amount growing on them. It's a little bit hazy today, so you can't quite make out the like Mount Arahoe and Mount Tongariro in the background, because it's just out of the Viz range, I think. Probably could have done a pickup from a slightly closer area, but I thought with the way the weather is, it'd be interesting just to do a slightly longer flight right across the top end of the sort of Kaweka Kaimanua ranges, and just see what sort of diverse weather we can run into, like with it set on reel at this time of the day. What we're doing for fuel, still 160 litres basically. We're not too far up from the Waipakahi now. I think it should be over this ridge and into the next valley. So we'll land there and we'll strop up a load, then we'll probably just sort of follow our nose back around clouds and whatever. Knocked around a bit in the lee of the old hills. There's the Waipakahi just there. Let's begin our approach in. Just see it on the other side of the valley there. Try to get a feel which way the wind's coming in. I'm just going to go a low pass over it. Yeah, I think we'll come in from down valley a little bit. One thing I'm still trying to get used to with this helicopter is the just the lack of viz when you're nose high in a flare. Bit of a gust there on that turn. So we've got a bit of wind here coming from about that direction. We'll see where we're going to figure out where we're going to pick these beehives up from, probably right in the middle there. I'll just drop her in there. I think that was, yeah, that descending turn there caught me out quite badly with the, that side wind blew the tail, and then I think it almost pushed me into sort of a start of a vortex ring state, which is was a little bit interesting. I had to sort of dive forward and out of it. Not the prettiest landing, but we're on the ground. Just wind it down. Right. Shut that thing up. Right. Let's drop up a load. So if I go here to the menu, weight and balance, scroll down, remove sling load, select new, and I've just got to switch to desktop view so that I can actually see to select under slung objects. Let me see what's happening here. No, I've just got to have to hop out of the seat because Windows has decided to do some sort of a pop-up for some reason. I have to allow it. Okay, I'll just select my beehives. Done. Yeah, sorry for this little bit of a disturbance here. Right, I'll just drop the sling load back down to probably 6. We'll make this a slight. No, we'll make it 600 kg because it's a full load we're taking back. It's not empty hive, so still got plenty of fuel. 34 minutes flight time. I should have landed a little bit different, but it's alright. It's just in the treat tree just there. Right, we're just line up where we're going to head back. We're basically just got to head straight through here. We'll go through these valleys up past the Cascade Hut. So we better get going. We're going to run out of fuel. I'll switch this one to the outside view so we can watch the takeoff from external view, and we'll see if we can pick it up nicely. I wish it actually spawned the sling load beside you upright rather than just extended right out in front of you. I was going to check my RPM. Yep, we're good. Friction locks off. Alright, we'll pick up the load. Bit of backwards movement there, which wasn't ideal. Now we'll try and climb out of the valley with our big load of beehives on the bottom. Think our load's clear. Power on. We'll head up through this saddle, I think. I can feel this load on the bottom. A few spots of rain on the windscreen. Pretty much just, no pun intended, beeline it back to base. $130 litres of fuel. Definitely makes it interesting with the sort of, I guess, blustery conditions at the moment that are sort of in the mountains. It's not the best day probably for this, but it makes it a bit more challenging and entertaining to do it on a day like this for the video. Probably messed up way too many times that I would have actually got away with in this one, but definitely need to practice up. Some steep country down through there, but look at it, some big slip faces. Alright, have a look at the outside view again. You see the chopper just sort of getting buffeted there a little bit by that side. It's sort of coming from our like 10, 11 o'clock at the moment, the wind. It's amazing, I can really feel it compared to X111, just the effect that the terrain has on these, the wind conditions in it now, compared to what it was like before. Definitely makes it a little bit more challenging. It's quite a nice tussock valley through here. I'll have to have a look if there's any huts in here, and if there are, I might need to add them. Another cool little valley to do some approaches in and out of. Nice river down there by the look of it. That looks neat looking up ahead of us, even though it's a little bit jittery with the that cloud bug. Just that haze, the early morning sun shining through, and that sort of murky look to it, kind of neat. We'll try and drop this load of beehives just out the back of the hangar on the grass, and then we'll just land back there down the grass beside the fuel pump, and then that'll be us. So in this valley ahead of us is actually another hut. I don't know if we've been to it in one of the videos yet. It's the Kakapo hut, which is sort of, I guess you'd say it would be sort of northwest of the Mangamari saddle hut, which is, you can probably see it down there in the trees now. We'll probably fly straight over it as we head down this valley. We hit the Tarangataupo River. We'll follow that through to the Cascade hut before we sort of do a slight veer out through towards the Porodui Valley. Just hear that constant wind buffeting the rotors, and you can, like, I'm pretty much trying not to move the stick too much at all, but I'm just having to do little corrections. But it's just amazing. You think you got it just going nice and straight, and then you'll just hear it just gets picked up by a wind and moved around, and it's neat. Right, so that should be the Kakapo hut just underneath us there. The shingle sort of landing spot there in the riverbed. basically almost carry on, just in a straight line through this sort of valley. As you can see, the rising ground on either side. The Paranui Valley's down the end of there. At the very end of this valley, sort of about where the tree visibility, or the 3D trees sort of run out there, is the Cascade Hut at the bottom end of that valley. Let's try and move our map up a little bit. It's going to be a little bit murky going through that valley today by the look of it. There's a little bit of haze in there, but we should be right if we just stay right at the middle of it. I don't know if you can quite make out the Cascade Hut. It's sort of in amongst the trees down there on the end of that sort of valley, straight over the nose where it hits the Tauranga River under us. The Tauranga Hut's just up to our left there, up around the corner a bit. It's on the side of the Tauranga River, obviously. Constantly getting a bit of wind again. Slowly getting there. Yeah, it's a little bit of a slow flight back with this big load of hives full of honey under us. Must have switched off the gauge before. It's just in the setting menu. I need to figure out how to do that. Probably not the best time to try and work that out now, or we're buffeting around on our trip back with a heavy load underneath. Almost see the Paranui Valley now, sort of where that white sort of real haze thickens up at the end there. So I think it's just the vis range that's making it look worse weather there than what it actually is. But, it hasn't been too bad, a few showers, but nothing to really hinder us too badly. Hopefully it's not too sickening, the video, with the movement where I'm getting jostled around with the wind a bit. Trying to keep it at 60 knots, but it's yeah, it's pretty tricky at the moment. bit of turbulence off that ridge to our left there. It's amazing just how much better the mechanics of how the weather affects the terrain and the aircraft in this over the previous version. It's just, yeah, it's night and day. That and CowanSims have done an absolutely outstanding job with this particular helicopter. It's just so much, so enjoyable to fly and challenging at the same time. There you can see the valley now. Paddocks out there. So an interesting fact, Paranui Station, or that somewhere in the Paranui Valley, I think it was in Paranui Station, is the original release site for Sika deer in New Zealand, and so as a consequence of that, the Kaumanawa and Kaweka ranges are pretty much full of Sika deer. There's a few reds, but predominantly Sika. It's pretty much the only sort of place in New Zealand where they sort of establish themselves. And looks like we're coming up on the valley shortly. A bit of a shower going past to our left there, so we'll start descending down into the valley and turning towards base a little bit once we get past this worst of the shower. Aiming for that big yellowish paddock ahead of us. And there's a lot of I guess manuka and karnuka and tea tree, which is same sort of thing, similar trees with the sort of flowers they have, which makes really good manuka honey, which is why a lot of the different owners of some of the private blocks that operate beehives and harvest the nectar off the flowers of the bees, and make some of the sort of world-class manuka honey here. Alright, pretty much on long finals now. I'll do the same as earlier. I'll swap to the outside view so we can you can see what's happening with the load, because it's a bit tricky to try and look. I mean, I can do it through VR, but you're not going to see much when I'm looking down like that. Ooh, bit of a gust off that hill. And so what we'll do is we'll try and drop it just out the back behind the container, release it, and then go and land on the grass beside the fuel pump. So we'll switch to outside view. Oh, big gust there. See that? That just threw the chopper sideways. down in the paddock here where the Beehive guys can sort it out. Alright, jettison the load. Let's go man by the fuel pump there. Frame rates are a little bit bad just here, so I'm just struggling a little bit with the, so I'm just going to have to make do. Not very pretty when the frame rates are bad because it's very hard to anticipate what it's going to do. Okay, so that was a sling loading operation video. I just let this cool down for a second or two. Switch that off. And that's us. Friction locks on. Avionics off. Anti-coal off. Battery off. Here we go. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll catch you on the next one.